I'm now joined by Jim Croxton, the Chief Executive or CEO, which how's it no, of BIGGA, the organisation running the entire show here. So we're almost at the end of day two. How are you feeling? Is it feeling that we're nearly over the line, or is there still stresses that are keeping you? I know you had a bad night last night. Still stresses keeping you awake at night?
I was awake last night, but not because of stresses. I've not been very well, and it's been a real shame because it's our key week, but I'm battling on like a trooper. We've had a few great days, and we're 2 days into the exhibition, but we're 4 days into the education programme. And our numbers have been brilliant on both aspects of that. It's not only numbers game, but to an extent the education programme, that is numbers. More people coming into the programme is better for everything. It's better for greenkeeping, but it's better for the show because they're good visitors. So yeah, we're really happy.
Wonderful. I mean, I do know that your education programmes are booked up earlier than ever this year, which is a positive sign because I remember from many years ago, the Harrogate was a great week to come to. Education was perhaps down the pecking order, but a reason to come. Now it seems to have turned around a little bit, and people are here to learn, people are here to develop.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think this was an exhibition firstly, then it was an exhibition with a conference, and now I think it's a conference and exhibition. I don't even put one above the other, really. I think the two absolutely sit hand in hand, and we couldn't have one without the other. The exhibition itself allows us to invest in the conference. The conference costs BIGGA probably £150,000 a year to put on, so clearly we have to generate some revenue to do that. But equally, a lot of our exhibitors wouldn't be here if the 1,000+ greenkeepers in the education programme were not guaranteed to be in town for 3 or 4 days spell. Yeah.
Now, you've just spent time taking us around. There's going to be changes next year. The show has always changed, but we've got some radical changes next year. Can you just explain a little bit about what those changes are going to be?
Yeah, absolutely. We're trying to suggest that they're not radical. We're staying in Harrogate, we're staying in the same building, we're staying in the same convention centre, and we're staying in the same dates and all that. But any change is seen as radical by people that have been doing the same thing for 30 years. And this is the 30th edition of an exhibition in Harrogate aimed at turf management. So in a nutshell, we're using the space differently. We're opening up 2 large new halls and 1 small hall, and we're closing 2 of the halls we use now. We're asking all our exhibitors to move and look at the best place in that set of facilities. And we're doing it really for one key reason. 2, but the one key reason is that we haven't been able to deliver the visitor experience this year we want. There isn't enough space in the halls for seating, for catering, for meeting. It's all exhibition space, which is nice commercially but not great for the visitor. We believe we've got to change radically, to use your word, to make that much better, and our feeling is that a better visitor experience is better for the show. But we absolutely acknowledge our exhibitors have concerns. We're very good friends or business friends with a lot of our customers, so we're listening to what they say. We're looking for a little bit of trust and faith, but equally we're not being dogmatic. We're not saying it's our way or the highway. We're going to try and work with them over the next sort of 4 to 6 weeks to really understand how we can put an exhibition on that ticks all our boxes.
Now, we know that Harrogate is a huge draw. Everybody enjoys a night out in Harrogate. The bars and restaurants are all within walking distance of the major hotels, which is absolutely fantastic. That said, you look down at Birmingham and enviously at some of the halls they've got down for the NEC and Saltex these days and how they've developed over the last couple of years.
I'd say one thing, I think the IOG have done a brilliant job of IOG Saltex. There was a huge amount of uncertainty 3 years ago when they made the change. That was radical. Changing part of the country, going indoors, changing date, and they pulled it off, I think, really well, and I commend them for that. We work very closely with IOG, as you know, in a number of areas. I'm not sure whether I envy the halls or not, because I'm so experienced at exhibitions in Harrogate that when I get into the NEC sometimes I find the experience a little soulless, but that could be me making the story fit the facts a little bit. But I like the quirky experience we have in Harrogate. We're just off soon to the San Antonio Conference Centre for the American show, and they've knocked down their old halls and built a brand new multiplex, and I'm actually disappointed because it was really nice. There were some dog legs and it was interesting. But you're right, it's much easier in a convention centre like the NEC to adapt your space, to expand, and the exhibitor just doesn't feel the same pressure when we change. So as I say, there'll be some challenges. There is certainly some nervousness amongst our customers.
I was just saying the point you've made, that you probably enjoy the old main road better than the Etihad Stadium. Would that be true?
Well, I used to live very close to Main Road, so I really enjoyed that. It's much harder to get the Etihad. The football at the Etihad this season, though, is pretty enjoyable. Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, thank you very much for giving me some of your time, Jim. I know it's a very busy week, and do appreciate the fact that our time pressures. You've given us 5 minutes of your time, so I hope the rest of the show today, the rest of today and tomorrow goes well. And thank you very much for talking to Turf Matters TV.
Thanks for having me.
Brilliant.